you about the water in the city of San Antonio. It is contaminated, and the EPA had just came out and said that after a couple years of study that there's nothing at the Air Force bases is deadly on it, but I'm ready here to prove that it is. And Bear Metropolitan Health District has given the okay to Kelly Air Force Base. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to prove them wrong, and here we go. Come on down here. I wrote to the Department of the United States Air Force Pentagon and the Department of the United States Energy in Washington, D.C. This is the response to July 20th, 2007 request for information on radioactivity sites on Air Force installation be evaluated for contamination of waste. The Office of the United States Air Force General provided the attachment documents response to your request. However, the Department of Energy, DOE, recommended certain information be withheld. In other words, there's more stuff out there we can't get the information to. Alright. This report came from United States Air Force Radioscope Committee, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That's the big boys in the United States Air Force. Now, the first paragraph into this 38 pages, in the early 1950s, it was a common practice in the United States Air Force to bury radioactivity waste. They classified it in three groups: mild, hot, and extra hot. And on all these bases, they buried it. And the last category was radioactivity self-illumination instrument dials, usually containing radium. Plus, you had all the plutonium and all that into these buried out there. Now, in the period 1958-59, several important changes occurred. The general authority to bury radioactivity waste was deleted from TO 00-110A-1. So after that, between 58 and 59, they were supposed to quit burying radioactivity out there. The result of these changes was a general closing down of Air Force burial operations throughout. All those isolated cases of unauthorized burial probably occurred for several more years, and nobody knew where they buried it, how they buried it, and what was in it. Now, on the next page, in the 1970s, it became increasingly apparent that the records covering each disposal site were generally being lost. In other words, as soon as they found them, they shredded them. Okay, in the original survey letter went to all major commands. Most commands forwarded the letter to their individual bases with appropriate instructions. So all the bases and the base commanders all knew about the waste out there and radioactivity on all Air Force bases. Alright, positive responses. These are the bases. Here it is in San Antonio: Kelly, Lackland, and Randolph. All these other bases here are all also on the positive sites for having burial at Air Force bases. Now, we're starting here. It shows you all the bases in order and where it was buried. Some of it, what they have listings for. Lackland Air Force Base. They've got it all out here on just this one site. No records are available of the nature of the waste buried in these latter areas. They have no idea. It could be plutonium up to little bitty particles of radiation. At Kelly Air Force Base, which they said they gave away, but they kept the golf course out there. And there are four 24-inch diameter pipes in there. And the contents of the most wells are unknown. So you're going to the little dials on your wristwatch to plutonium. And they have no idea what's buried out there, and it's leaking into the water in the city of San Antonio. Randolph Air Force Base, these are 10 sites adjacent to the big ones, but they have no idea where the big ones are. And here, burials are reported to be in accordance with the TO 0011OA1, and each burial is marked with a concrete monument. So there's 10 spaces out there adjacent to the big ones, and this is all leaking into the aquifer. Now, here's the article that they sent to us. No license shall be disposed of licensed material except. They really had no license, and they could bury it anywhere in any place in the 58, 59 area. All right. The last sentence is here, because it is possible that the only record of a disposal site will exist is in the memory of various personnel. It is requested that knowledge of these disposal sites on any Air Force base be included in the submitted data. Half the people were dead. Nobody knows where it's buried at, how much is buried out there. Now we're into EPA. I'm going straight back. I got about 20 or 30 pages here, but we're going back to drinking radioactive water. There are 4 categories on the breaking down of the atomic waste. You got combined radium, gross alpha, beta particles, and uranium. And every one of the conclusions has an increase in the risk of getting cancer. Increase the risk of getting cancer. All of them. Increase of getting cancer. Increase of getting greater cancer. Ladies and gentlemen, we're drinking radioactive water. Now, if you get it into your indigestion, radioactivity particles can lodge in the lungs and remain for a long time. As long as it remains and continues to decay, the exposure continues. Okay, alpha and beta particles can transform large amounts of energy to surrounding tissues, damaging DNA or other cellular material. This damage can eventually lead to cancer or other diseases and mutations. You got that? Everybody can read it. Okay. That's it for right on this here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have asked for help from the news people, and this we have a tape here from channel 4, 5, 12, 9, 29, and 35, asking for help to tell the people that the water in the city of San Antonio is contaminated. So far, nobody's ever even called me back or even got with me. And I also wrote Ross Team, ABC News Group News. This is the Ross Team and the investigating team. We wrote these people on July 2nd, 2008. I gave them a name, phone number, told them what it was. Never heard from them again. So none of the newspapers want to carry it, or the radio stations want to carry it. So we've got the United States Air Force, Pentagon, the Department of Energy, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, saying that all Air Force bases are a radioactive waste dump. EPA can't find nothing out there. I got a question for them. Did you even check? The Bear Metropolitan Health District, did y'all even check? We got 3 groups of the top United States Air Force people are saying that all bases are radioactive. We're going to go one more. I filed for Social Security disability, and we're fighting the money thing here now. And we got the Senator John Cornyn, I hope I pronounced that right, and asking for help. And I don't know if he read this or one of his aides read it, but I wish his aides would show him. But we have found that you met medical requirements for disability payment, and explanation of a finding is attached. The doctors called the Department of Energy and the United States Air Force and looked at the papers I gave them, and they agreed with all my other problems. Here we go. Previously drinking radioactive wastewater at Air Force bases. This sets a precedent that everybody here in San Antonio can file for Social Security disability for drinking radioactive water here in San Antonio. And I hope Senator John Cornyn will get back with me. I would appreciate it. got four people. We've got the United States Air Force Pentagon, the Department of Energy, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and now Social Security have all agreed that all the bases are all radioactive. We need help. We've got the biggest Holocaust in the world. We've got 11 million people here, and look at all the other states and the towns. We probably have 50 million people drinking radioactive water and being used as guinea pigs in the United States. San Antonio has started putting one cancer society after another cancer society after another cancer society. Somebody knows high up what's happening. We need help. I would like to ask